Yes, I know this review's a wee bit late, but there are a few legitimate reasons for it. So if you can't tell by the odd setup, this is not where I usually record because we are in the middle of moving. Yes, as I record this on the Friday, this time next week, I will be moved into our new whare, our new house. We are moving and I will actually get a proper setup where I can sort of organise stuff how I want to, and it'll be good for future content. I was also busy last weekend. I was at Thunder Down Under, the event sponsored by Trust Aoraki at Levels Raceway that packed the banks massively. It was one of the best events I have been to at that track for, how many times have I been going there? For the last 23 years. It was amazing. It was like back to the glory days of how people say that how packed the 90s and the early 2000s was. It was so good to see. Plus the racing was good as well. But that's not the racing that I want to talk about. This is the review of the final round of the Formula Regional Oceania Championship. I wanted to eventually do this review even if it was a week late. But if you want to see more content from me and in a proper setup, give a like and a subscribe. The support would be very much appreciated. We're trying to get 200 subscribers. We are so close to that goal. And also follow me over on Instagram and TikTok, where there is a lot of shorter based content, a lot of news, up-to-date stuff, and a lot of livery reviews for the upcoming season. So the fourth round, the final round, this was at the Highlands Motorsport Park. This is one of the newer circuits in New Zealand, opened in 2013. This is Tony Quinn's golden goose, you could say. This is where he originally went into the track ownership business, and this was the one that he built from scratch, basically. Located in a beautiful part of New Zealand, Cromwell in central Otago, it is 4.5 kilometers long. A lot of unique parts to this circuit, and also taking some inspiration from others. I mean, you've got like the bus stop, turn 1, turn 2 chicane area, you've got the Southern Loop, you've got the over bridge, which is one of the most entertaining parts of the circuit, seeing cars get air there. And not only is it the current host of the New Zealand Grand Prix, but it is also the former host of the GT race, the Highlands 101, that lasted for 4 years. And Tony Quinn has ambitions to host a supercars round at this circuit. So there was meant to be 3 races on this weekend, but instead they had 4. If you remember from my last round review, there was a race that was postponed because of weather, and I predicted that it would just be one of the races on at Highlands, and this was the Friday race. But that also meant that drivers weren't allowed to compete in this event. James Wharton, who was busy testing for the FIA F3 season, and I think Harath, and also Liam Skeets, who made the one-off appearance at the New Zealand Grand Prix weekend, but this is technically Teretonga, so he wasn't allowed to compete. And Kelly Rovanpera was ill from Friday onwards, so unfortunately for the Kelly Rovanpera fans, he did not compete in any of the races during the weekend, which really hurt his points position because he was sniffing around the top 10 this time last week before the round at Highlands. So anyway, the race, it was Freddie Slater that was starting on pole. Remember, he had a pretty good weekend last weekend at Teretonga from Kanato Lee and the championship leader Ugo Ugochukwu, who would eventually pass Lee for second. Remember, Freddie Slater got a lot of points back off Ugo's disappointing feature race last weekend at Teretonga, so it was vital that he stays ahead of Ugo Ugochukwu for all 4 of these races. Jin Nakamura had a bit of a poor start, so he was making up places quite quickly in the high-tech car using the push-to-pass system. Remember, this is the first time they are using this system at this track, so this race was more of a trial and error for the system that was either a push-to-pass or a push-to-defend in some cases. It was a good cat and mouse game between Slater and Ugo Ugochukwu, who would catch up with him and then Slater would pull away from it, but in the end it was quite a calm race, with Freddie Slater eventually getting the win. Technically, if you're using technicals about it, the third of 4 wins from Teretonga. Ugo would finish second, and Louis Sharp would finish the podium off in 3rd place. Remember, he was also in the hunt for the championship. For the proper race one of the weekend, Skeets and Wharton would be back on the grid, but like I said, Rovanpera would be out for the whole weekend. There was a lot of qualifying. Now, I was obviously away and busy for most of the weekend, so there was a lot of controversy around qualifying that I didn't quite understand, so please catch up with me in the comments. But Ryan Wood and Ugo Ugochukwu were investigated, but I don't think anything came out of that because they were in their original starting positions. And Ugo did get the jump on Jin Nakamura and pass him quite early on in lap 1. Trevor Latourette would start what would be a quite poor weekend for him. He would go into the pits and have a few minor mechanical problems, and there was a lot of battles throughout the pack, and they really found out quickly where track limits were. There are a few 5-second penalties getting thrown around here and there. And Zach Schuyler did go off the grass and spin in quite a strange spot. It's quite a incident-filled corner. It's just a simple right-hander before they get through that forestry area at the back of the circuit, and he would lose a lot of positions, and it's still hard to explain how he got there. Later on in the race, the front cars would get into a bit of a rhythm, but just after the bridge, Ernesto Rivera would go off into the gravel on the last lap, and that would end up having the race finish under safety car, with Ugo Ugochukwu getting race win number 4 for the season. Not what Freddie Slater needed, considering he is the one hunting Ugo for the series. Jin Nakamura would get 2nd, and Louis Sharp would get another podium in 3rd position. Race 2 would be the reverse grid race, and it would be Kanato Lee that would get the pole position in his high-tech car over Liam Skeets, who is trying to get his 2nd New Zealand Grand Prix win after winning in 2024. But it would be Kanato that would get the brilliant start of the lot. Ryan Wood would have a bit of a weird one going through the bus stop chicane. He would get a bit of grass kicked up and go off circuit, but he would save himself. Trevor Latourette would have another drama. There was a good battle at the back of the top 10 between Yevan David and Zach Schuyler, but unfortunately for Young Poo Shui, he would go off into the gravel and cause a safety car. From the looks of it, he was trying to make a pass and just stuffed it up, just sort of the simple error that you are going to make, and like I said, it caused a safety car. After the safety car, there was a lot of combat out on track and a lot of battling. Cardi Baptista would end up in the gravel, unfortunately, quite close to the end of the race. So this was the 2nd race in a row that had the finish be under safety car. But for the high-tech fans out there, it was huzzahs and hurrahs because they finally won a race on the last round of the season, with Kanato Lee getting him and the team's first win in the championship. And it was a all-new team podium for this race, with James Wharton and Liam Skeets getting 2nd and 3rd respectively. This is good to see for the series. These new teams, yes, they do have single-seater experience, with High-Tech a hell of a lot of single-seater experience, but this is a new series, so it's good to see them come in and win and get podiums. Hopefully, it's an incentive to have these teams stay on for the next season, because it's been good to see 6 teams on the grid. It has spiced up the teams championship, as I'll go into in detail at the end of the episode. But the final race was the 70th New Zealand Grand Prix, one of the most prestigious single-seater races on the planet, and the first Grand Prix, official Grand Prix of the year. It would be the high-tech driver Jin Nakamura would get the pole position, but it would not be him that would be leading through the bus stop chicane. It would be the now LMP3 driver Zach Schuyler that would be leading through the first lap. Ugo Ugochukwu had a bit of a mountain to climb if he not only wanted to win the race but the championship. 13th starting position for the American, but he was making up places thick and fast. Quite helpful for the fact that Nolan Alea in the Giles Motorsport car went off into the gravel went off into the marbles at the lap 2. He would then end up going into the pits with some tyre dramas. Schuyler and Nakamura were playing another game of cat and mouse for the front, and it would be Aussie Jack Taylor, the other Giles Motorsport car, having a bit of drama on the pit wall. crashing into that and causing the first safety car of the race. But that would end up causing a red flag. I think this was a bit of a strange one, but also a good idea just to get things, make sure that wall there is nice and secure and safe. But it would be lap 15 out of 27 where things would get back up and running. It would be Liam Skeets and James Wharton having the most intense battle for 7th I have ever seen. It's quite weird that they didn't let James Wharton by for some reason. Liam Skeets was a one-off, but he fought that position to save his life, and it was going on for multiple laps. Cooper Shipman did go off track. There were fears that the safety car would come out ending the race, but thankfully he managed to find a safe place to park the number 14 car. You couldn't say the same for Trevor Latourette. His bad weekend finally came to an end, and he would end up in the wall rather hard on lap 26 out of 27. And guess what? This caused a late race safety car, and the race would end under the safety car. It would be the New Zealander Zach Schuyler that would end up picking up the New Zealand Grand Prix win. And it was also the first win in the Grand Prix for the team that was running the car, Intech Motorsports, that have been trying to get this win for quite a few years now. I think they said a decade they've been going at this Grand Prix, but they finally managed to get it off the grasp of M2 competition and last year Giles Motorsport. And it would be the Japanese drivers rounding out the podium with Jin Nakamura and Kanato Lee getting second and third. Fun fact with Lee's win in the second race, he was the first Japanese driver to win in this series since Yuki Tsunoda. Not a bad person to be the last one of your nation to win a race. But for Ugo Ugochukwu fans, it was enough. 16 points was the gap between him and Freddie Slater, and he would end up winning the Formula Regional Oceania title. What have we learnt from this series? Well, if you want to win the title, you need to have the number 4 on your car, because this is the 3rd year in a row that the number 4 car has won the title. It was Roman Belinsky, then Arvid Lindblad, and now it's Ugo Ugochukwu. First driver to get in the series next year probably should reserve that number. Anyway, here's the remaining points. Louis Sharp was quite close behind him, with Jin Nakamura sniffing his rear quite closely. Ryan Wood got 5th. That is a pretty good result for a taxi driver, and he also got Rookie of the Year in this series. He got 2 wins, remember, and Kanato Lee, his roller coaster of a year, finally finishes with a 6th place finish. As for the Tasman Cup, which is the highest placed Australian and New Zealand driver, you had Louis Sharp take that title from Ryan Wood. Obviously, Zach Schuyler was in 3rd position for that one. Big gap between him and James Wharton, but don't forget James Wharton missed out on Teratonga. Jack Taylor in 5th, and Sebastian Manson in 6th, with Liam Skeets rounding off the Australian and New Zealand drivers with his one-off result. In M2 competition, get their 11 millionth teams championship by, it was actually quite a close margin, closer than they have done the last few years, with M-Tech really stepping up this year. New Boys High Tech got 3rd position, and mainly with help from James Wharton. HMD with TJ Speed also had a good result. 5th place was Kiwi Motorsport and Giles Motorsport, with their 2 drivers rounded out the order. So that is my Castrol Formula Regional Oceania Trophy review. I will review how individual drivers went, but this is my book for the round reviews. It's all done. If you like this video and you want to see more, give a like and subscribe. Like I said, I will post the season review. Don't know when I'll have time for that. I've got plenty of other videos to do. A lot of NASCAR content next week, with the season starting next week. And then the week after that's a lot of supercars content. So if you like that sort of stuff, stick around and subscribe. The support would be very much appreciated. And check out one of these 2 videos beside me. Not sure which is going to go up there. It's whatever the algorithm chooses. And I'll see you in the next video, whatever one that may be.